Today is a Thursday, November 2, 2023. Heavy battles in northern Gaza as bombing continues. Fierce fighting between Israeli forces and Palestinian fighters is reported in northern Gaza and Gaza City as the hail of the besieged enclave intensifies. Gaza officers say 195 killed, 120 missing in Israel's bombing of Jabalia exile camp, which the UN says may be disproportionate attacks that could amount to war crimes. Turkish-Palestinian Friendship Hospital, Gaza's only medical installation serving cancer cases, was forced to shut down after running out of energy. The Indonesian hospital is running on a backup creator. Over 9,061 Palestinians have lost their lives in Israeli attacks on Gaza since October 7, with further than 1,400 Israeli casualties. Heavy battles were reported between Israeli forces and Palestinian fighters from Khan Younis. Southern Gaza Multiple reports are coming from the northern part of the Gaza Strip about fierce battles going on between the Israeli forces and Hamas fighters. A while agone from the Israeli army, Israeli tanks were pushing deep at the gates of Gaza City. There are also reports about exchanges of fire in the northern part of Gaza where Israeli tanks are still posted and haven't moved. Other reports coming from the central part of Gaza City say that tanks are coming directly from the southeastern side, going towards the littoral line and pushing deep into the center of Gaza. The anticipation is that fighting will be heavy. Meanwhile, the airstrikes haven't stopped in the once many hours. They are far and wide, covering the entire Gaza Strip, but are substantially concentrated where there's active ground fighting, in the northern part and Gaza City. What's going on is that bottom dog faces are moving under the heavy cover of airstrikes, clearing the road in front of Israeli tanks to push deeper into the northern part and Gaza City. As reported before, the death risk in Gaza from Israeli attacks has risen to 9,061 people, including 3,760 children. This screen grab, taken while the health ministry functionary was given updates on the casualty numbers, shows a man carrying a child's body, trying in vain to hold back his gashes. He gently kisses the head of the body wrapped in a cloak before breaking down. Internationally accepted rules of fortified conflict were passed under the Geneva Conventions in 1949, which state children must be defended and treated humanely. Still, Israeli airstrikes on Gaza have killed one child every 10 twinkles since the launch of the war. Further from Gaza's health ministry spokesperson is holding a press conference in front of Al-Shifa Hospital. Then what he has had to say: 256 civilians were killed in the rearmost Israeli airstrikes moment. The sanitarium entered 2,600 reports of missing people, including 1,150 children missing or buried under the debris. 135 medical staff have been killed, and 25 ambulances destroyed. 16 hospitals are out of service in Gaza, and 32 medical care installations are out of operation. The spokesperson also called on Turkish President Erdogan to intrude and cover the Turkish Friendship Hospital since it's the only working sanitarium for cancer cases in Gaza. At least 18 Israeli soldiers have been killed since the launch of the ground descent. The Israeli army says a legion commander has been killed during fighting in northern Gaza. Lieutenant Colonel Salman Habakah, the commander of the Israelis' Army 53rd Legion, is believed to be the most elderly officer killed since the launch of the ground operations. This brings the total number of soldiers killed since Israel expanded its military descent in the besieged enclave to 18. 4 other soldiers were seriously wounded during combat, the army said. The Israeli army moving along multiple axes. The Israeli army is moving along multiple axes to compass where they assume Hamas fighters are. Ijaz Haider, foreign affairs and military critic, says. One idea could be, given how numerous reserves they've called up, to not just souse the area with horsepower, which they've done through the air and through ordnance fire, but to also souse the area with colors, Haider told a reporter. One of the effects colors do is fight the way they train, but if the conflict gets prolonged and the original assessment of adversary capabilities falls short, they've to introduce it. For Hamas, bringing them in is where they will be suitable to induce maximum damage, at least in proposition, on the incoming Israeli colors. Thanks for watching and subscribing to the channel.